The United States is home to around 37.2 million people of Mexican origin, making up nearly 60% of the Hispanic population. Over the last 2 decades, the Mexican origin population has skyrocketed by 79%. This should come as no surprise, considering a significant part of the US was once Mexican territory until 1848, when the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed. This treaty ceded lands that are now California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, and more. In this video, we'll explore the 10 states with the highest percentage of residents with Mexican heritage. Let's dive in. No surprises here. California tops the list with the largest population of people of Mexican origin. Nearly 13.7 million Californians have Mexican roots, making up an astounding 34.8% of the state's overall population. The influence of Mexican culture is deeply woven into the fabric of California, from the Spanish names of cities like Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco, to the vibrant Mexican neighborhoods in cities like East LA. The state's Mexican heritage is unmistakable. Los Angeles is home to the largest concentration of people of Mexican origin in the US, and California itself has long been a key hub for Mexican immigration, both historical and modern. The rich influence of Mexican culture can be seen in the state's food, festivals, art, and language. Whether it's enjoying authentic Mexican cuisine at the thousands of taco trucks across the state, or celebrating Cinco de Mayo in grand style, the culture is alive and thriving. Next up is Texas, a state with incredibly deep historical ties to Mexico. Texas has a Mexican origin population of around 11 million people, making up 32.9% of the state's total population. The Mexican influence here is enormous, especially in cities like San Antonio and Houston, which are home to some of the largest Mexican communities in the country. Mexican culture has profoundly shaped Texas, from the iconic Tex-Mex cuisine to the vibrant Cinco de Mayo celebrations that are bigger here than almost anywhere else in the country. Texas also shares a long border with Mexico, which has historically facilitated a continuous flow of people, culture, and commerce between the two. The state's history is intertwined with Mexico's, and this deep connection remains evident in its population and culture today. New Mexico ranks third with about 680,000 residents of Mexican origin, representing 32.4% of the state's total population. The cultural and historical ties between New Mexico and Mexico run deep, as evidenced by the state's architecture, art, festivals, and even its name, New Mexico. Cities like Santa Fe and Las Cruces are rich in Mexican heritage, with traditional Mexican art and cultural events shaping much of the local atmosphere. The Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta often includes Mexican themes and participants, further highlighting the integration of Mexican culture into New Mexico's identity. Despite sharing a border with Mexico, the state doesn't have large cities directly on the border, but the cultural exchange between the two areas is undeniable. Arizona shares much of the same historical and cultural ties as New Mexico, given its proximity to Mexico and shared border. Arizona is home to about 1.6 million people of Mexican origin, making up about 26% of the state's population. The state's Mexican influence is apparent in its cuisine, architecture, and festivals, with a strong Mexican-American presence in cities like Phoenix and Tucson. Many argue that Arizona has some of the best Mexican food in the United States, and it's easy to see why given the state's long-standing cultural exchange with its southern neighbor. Mexican culture is a vibrant and integral part of Arizona's identity, shaping its history and its future. Nevada's Mexican population has been steadily growing over the years, with about 710,000 residents of Mexican origin, making up 22.3% of the state's population. Cities like Las Vegas and Reno are the main hubs for Nevada's Mexican communities, where you'll find an abundance of Mexican restaurants, cultural festivals, and street fiestas. Mexican culture has left a significant mark on Nevada, and its influence is felt in everything from the food to the arts. Las Vegas in particular is known for its diverse population, and the Mexican community plays a large part in making the city the vibrant cultural melting pot that it is today. Colorado is home to about 922,000 residents of Mexican origin, making up 15.8% of the state's population. Cities like Fort Garland Center and Salt Creek have significant populations of Mexican descent, with some towns having over 80% of residents claiming Hispanic heritage. The Mexican influence in Colorado is evident in its culture, food, and community spirit, with Mexican festivals and traditions woven into the fabric of the state. Colorado has long been a destination for Mexican immigrants, drawn by the state's booming economy and the opportunities in agriculture, construction, and hospitality. Illinois is home to about 1.7 million residents of Mexican origin, making up 13.8% of the state's population. While there is significant farmland in Illinois, the majority of the Mexican population can be found in cities like Chicago. Neighborhoods such as Pilsen and Little Village are cultural epicenters for the Mexican community, with Mexican markets, restaurants, and festivals being an integral part of life in these areas. Chicago's Mexican community is one of the largest in the Midwest, and its influence on the city's food, art, and culture cannot be overstated. Oregon may not be the first state that comes to mind when thinking of Mexican communities, but it has a significant population of about 462,000 people of Mexican origin, making up 10.9% of the state's population. The majority of Oregon's Mexican population resides in cities like Portland and the farming regions of the Willamette Valley. Portland in particular is known for its taco trucks, with over 100 of them serving up authentic Mexican cuisine across the city. The state's agricultural sector heavily relies on Mexican labor, and the Mexican community has also made its mark in construction and the service industries. Idaho may surprise some with its large Mexican population, but the state is home to about 213,000 residents of Mexican origin, making up 10.7% of the population. Mexican immigrants have been drawn to Idaho's agricultural sector for decades, working on the state's farms and ranches. Over time, the community has expanded into cities like Boise, where many have become business owners and community leaders. Idaho's Mexican population adds a vibrant cultural flavor to the state, with traditional Mexican food, festivals, and values being an important part of life here. Finally, we have Washington State, which is home to about 800,000 people of Mexican origin, representing 10.3% of the state's population. Cities like Seattle, Yakima, and Pasco have large Mexican communities, and the state's economy benefits significantly from the contributions of Mexican immigrants, particularly in agriculture, technology, and construction. Washington's Mexican community has added to the cultural richness of the state, with a blend of traditional and modern Mexican influences shaping the local culture.